Good morning, everyone. Today we will be discussing about the polyparamagnetism case. Okay, so in statistical mechanics, polyparamagnetism that we'll be discussing today, and in polyparamagnetism we'll be dealing with the metal conduction electrons. Okay, so the which is temperature independent and density dependent, that we need to prove it from in this discussion. So normally we know the susceptibility is equal to chi equal to 10 raised to minus 6, experimentally found out that, and classically we know that the Langevin paramagnetism we able to find that chi equal to 10 raised to minus 4 in that representation. And also in Langevin paramagnetism we have seen that the chi is proportional to 1 by T, that is chi is inversely proportional to the temperature, and which is leading to the Curie's law, chi is equal to C by T, where C is the Curie's constant. Okay, so here you can see the susceptibility value has been 10 raised to minus 6 and 10 raised to minus 4 in theoretical case. So there is a discrepancy in susceptibility value you can see, and also you can see that dependence on temperature is inversely proportional through Langevin paramagnetism. But in metals, so which is abundant of conduction electrons are there, free electrons are there, which normally behave as temperature independent at low field, and it will be number densities dependent. So there is no temperature dependency on chi one could identify for a free electron case. So that we will be examining in the case of polyparamagnetism. And poly has been introduced to this paramagnetic behavior. He has explained using quantum mechanical aspect. Earlier it was classical aspect by Langevin. Now in polyparamagnetism he has approached as a Fermi-Dirac statistics, that is a quantum mechanical approach on the free electrons. Okay, and he has said that it is a feeble temperature independent and density dependent paramagnetism arising in free electrons present in metal due to the intrinsic magnetic moment of the electrons. Okay, so which is showing feeble temperature independency and density dependency due to the intrinsic magnetic moment of the electron present in the metals. So that is the reason why it's showing a temperature independent and density dependent situation. So we'll examine those details in the coming sessions. Okay, so we know that when you say that the energy of a system of a energy of a free electron in a metal, so it has two contribution. One is the kinetic energy contribution, another one is the magnetic energy. So this magnetic energy is arising from the magnetic moment, intrinsic magnetic moment of electron, so that is mu dot B, where B is the magnetic field. Okay, so these are the component of total energy representation of any electrons, free electron in a metal. Now when you consider for electron have two spin, right? One up spin and down spin. Up means it is plus half and down means it's minus half. So up spin is, how do we distinguish up and down spin? So in the case of up spin, so the intrinsic magnetic momentum will be parallel to magnetic field. Okay, so in that case the energy will be p square by 2m minus mu dot b. Now it comes to the downspin, the magnetic momenta will be parallel to anti-parallel to magnetic field, so that is epsilon equal to p square by 2m plus mu dot b. Okay, so now it comes to absolute zero, we'll have mu parallel to what? Mu parallel to b, and where we know that the kinetic energy can range from the value 0 to epsilon f plus mu dot b. Here you can see that I am talking about kinetic energy aspect. So kinetic energy will be vary from 0 to epsilon f plus mu dot b, because we know that at absolute 0 we have what? We have Fermi energies left. So that is a complete field energy. The maximum possible energy field is Fermi energy level. So if we have three electrons present, so it will be distributed in this manner. Okay, okay, so you can see the corresponding energy will be varying from, for when mu is parallel to b, so it is 0 to epsilon f plus mu dot b. Now, if the magnetic momentum is anti-parallel to magnetic field, then in that situation the kinetic energy will vary from 0 to epsilon F minus mu dot B. Okay, so that is the difference you have to see, the plus and minus sign here you have to note, and here it is different. This is about the total energy of the system, and here we are talking about the kinetic energy of the upspin and downspin case. How do it vary? What is the limit that you can say for that? Okay, so that differentiation you should understand from that. Clear? So moving on to the next one. Now, when the mu parallel to B, so we'll first examine that is the magnetic moment is parallel to B. Now we have the number of particle upspin there, so which I denoted as n plus. What is capital N plus? That is the number of particle with upspin. So it is a total number of particle with upspin. Okay. Now the n plus will be equal to what? It is the summation of the mean occupation number or the average number of particle which having the energy epsilon. Okay, now here if you the summation, if you replace with the total volume, now we know that the volume is 4p square v by h cube dp, where v it came from d cube q. So this is exercise we have done many times in the previous sections. Okay, and the energy is varying from 0 to epsilon f plus mu b, but epsilon f is what is Fermi energy. So we are talking about the upspin case, and we know the total occupation number, the maximum occupation number equal to 1, that we already know that. And also we take energy is equal to what? Energy equal to p square by 2m, that we already know, right? Okay, that is many times we have done. And p equal to what? Root 2 me, and dp if you take root 2 m epsilon raised to minus 1 by 2 d epsilon will be there. Okay, so this is how the representation. Now we can substitute our p square here, and we can also give substitution to dp. While you do the substitution, we'll have n plus will be equal to 4 pi v divided by h cube integral 2 me root m 2m epsilon raised to minus 1 by 2 divided by 2 d epsilon. So here we have to put the limit 4 pi v by h cube 2m divided by 2 raised to 3 by 2 epsilon f plus mu b divided by 0 to infinity 0 to epsilon f plus mu b epsilon raised to 1 by 2 d epsilon. How it comes? Epsilon into epsilon raised to minus 1 by 2. Okay, now if we evaluate this integration, we know that it will be epsilon raised to 3 by 2 divided by 3 by 2 will be there. Then we have to put the limit 0 to epsilon f plus mu b. Okay, then we will be getting the corresponding value for n plus. So now the n plus will be getting as 4 by 3 pi v by h cube 2m raised to 3 by 2 epsilon f plus mu b raised to 3 by 2. Okay, so this is the value for the total number of particle with a upspin in a case. Now we'll examine what is the case for downspin. So it is similar like downspin also. N minus will be equal to 4 by 3 pi v by h cube 2m raised to 3 by 2 epsilon f minus mu b raised to 3 by 2. So this is how the value that you can obtain for that case. Okay, so you will be getting the corresponding value here, and now you can examine the net magnetic moment here. The net magnetic moment is m equal to n mu, where n is actually n plus minus n minus. Okay, so it will be okay. So we are talking about the net magnetic moment due to the upspin and downspin. That's why there is n plus minus n minus mu. Okay, and the net magnetic momentum will be, so we'll have a common terms because already we have n plus and n minus. If you substitute into the equation, we'll have few common terms, mu 4 by 3 pi v by h cube 2m raised to 3 by 2 and into epsilon f plus mu b raised to 3 by 2 minus epsilon f minus mu b raised to 3 by 2. Okay, so this is corresponding to the n plus, this is corresponding to n minus value. Now the magnetic momentum will be equal to mu into 4 by 3 pi v by h cube raised to 2m raised to 3 by 2 epsilon f raised to 3 by 2. Now if you take epsilon f raised to 3 by 2 from this box, okay, we'll have 1 plus mu b by epsilon f raised to 3 by 2 minus 1 minus mu b by epsilon f raised to 3 by 2. Okay, while examine this, we'll have mu 4 by 3 pi v by h cube 2m raised to 3 by 2 into epsilon f by 3 by 2 3 mu b by epsilon f will be there. That means the net magnetic momenta will be equal to mu 4 by 3 pi v by h cube 2m raised to 3 by 2 epsilon f raised to 3 by 2 3 mu b by epsilon f. So this is the net magnetic momenta we will be finding. Now by using this net magnetic moment, we'll evaluate the low field susceptibility. If the magnetic field is tends to 0, so what is the possible susceptible value? So chi 0 will be equal to limit b tends to 0 m divided by vb, where v is the volume, b is the magnetic field, and m is the net magnetic moment. So net magnetic moment already we have identified. Then now we can substitute that in the equation. Then we will be getting like this. Okay, and the chi 0 will be equal to 4 pi. There are few terms we can cut it down here. V and V get cancelled, B and B and get cancelled, and also epsilon yeah, mu square will be there. 4 pi mu square by h cube 2m raised to 3 by 2 epsilon f raised to 1 by 2 epsilon f divided by epsilon f. Or rather you can write it like this as well. Chi 0 equal to 4 pi mu square 2m raised to 3 by 2 epsilon f raised to 3 by 2 divided by h cube epsilon f. Okay, now we'll just substitute to epsilon f raised to 3 by 2. For that we'll be substituting, we'll just substitute epsilon f here. So epsilon f already we know Fermi energy is equal to 3n by 4 pi g raised to 2 by 3 h square by 2m, where g we all know g is the degeneracy, n is the total number of particles. Okay, so the chi 0 will be equal to 4 pi mu square 2m raised to 3 by 2 h cube by epsilon f. We'll keep it as constant, and we'll just substitute to epsilon f raised to 3 by 2, then that will be equal to 3n by 4 pi gv h cube by 2m raised to 3 by 2. Okay, now from that we'll be getting, while reducing that, we'll be getting chi 0 equal to what? 3n mu square by gv epsilon f, where g is, we know it is a degeneracy, so g will be equal to 2. How do we get that? For that we know that J is the total spin of the electron, so that is equal to half, and G equal to what? 2J plus 1, and 2 into 1 by 2 plus 1, that is G will be equal to 2. Now you can substitute that in the equation, then you will be getting chi 0 equal to 3 by 2 n mu square by epsilon f, right? So that means our G will be equal to 2, right? That's why we are getting 2 here. Okay, and we know that from this equation at low field the susceptibility is independent of the temperature at low field. So that's the one thing we identified now. So that's the one thing we have to get it. Now we'll expand this susceptibility for all the possible temperature, or for every temperature, like you can say that. Okay, so we'll get a generalized representation corresponding to that. So for that, the NP plus we are introducing. What is NP plus? NP plus is the number of particles with momentum P and the magnetic moment parallel to B. Okay, and NP minus is the number of particles with momentum P, and it is a downspin, so mu is anti-parallel to P. So we know that the total energy associated will be equal to P square by 2 minus mu dot B. So that is the total energy associated with the free electron. Clear? Now, if you consider the total energy of n particle, En will be equal to sigma p, because it's a changing momentum will be there. So momentum value can vary. So sigma p square by 2m minus mu dot b np plus p square by 2m plus mu dot b np minus. So that is, it is a total sum of the energy associated with the number of particles with the momentum p, which are having an upspin, and the number of particles with having a momentum p, which is having a particle momentum yeah, it is where the mu is anti-parallel to b, so it's a downspin. Okay, now if we evaluate this, sigma p will be equal to np plus np minus, so we'll just correct all the term corresponding to p square 2 by 2m together, so we'll have like this, and mu b into np plus minus np minus on the other side. Okay, then the total energy En will be equal to sigma P Np plus plus Np minus into P square by 2m minus mu B N plus minus N minus. What is N plus? N plus is sigma P Np plus, that is the total number of particles with upspin. So sigma P Np minus, that is total number of particles with the downspin. And we know that the total number of particles will be equal to N plus minus plus N minus. Okay, so that is will be a constant value. It is a combination summation of sigma Np plus plus sigma P Np minus. Okay, now here we are dealing this problem using a canonical ensemble theory. So we have partition function here. Partition function is equal to sigma Np plus Np minus. Okay, so we have to associate the particle with a number of particle with momentum p and number of particle momentum minus. Okay, so into e raised to minus beta En, where eta En is the total energy associated with here. Okay, now Np plus, sometimes it will be 0, Np minus will be 1. So it can either Np plus and Np minus will be having either 0 or 1 it will be in the value. And always N plus will be fixed, N minus will be fixed. And we know that the total number of particles is constant, that is N plus equal to N minus. So N minus also we can say that N minus equal to N minus N plus. Okay, so this is not minus 1, it is just minus. Okay. So this is already we said what is this representation. Now if you put the above condition that En, if you substitute into the equation for the partition function, we'll get sigma n plus equal to 0 to n. Okay, sigma np plus np minus e raised to minus beta np plus minus np minus p square by 2m minus mu dot b n plus minus n minus. Okay, now the partition function becomes what? Sigma n plus equal to 0 to n e raised to plus mu b beta 2n plus minus n. Sigma np plus e raised to minus beta sigma p square by 2m np plus. Okay, then sigma np minus e raised to minus beta sigma p square by 2m np minus. So this is how, if you distribute the summation, you will be getting, because we have to only collect the term corresponding to np plus one side, np minus on the side, and we'll have to collect the other term like n plus terms on the other side. Okay, so that's what we have done here. Now we'll consider with that partition keep in mind, keep that partition function in keep in mind. Well, now we'll consider a special case. What is a special case? So we are dealing with a spinless particle. Spinless particle means J will be equal to 0. So what is J equal to 0 means? So in that case the degeneracy becomes also 1. Okay, so it does not possess a particular spin, so J equal to 0, G will be equal to 2J plus 1, that is equal to 1. Okay, now in that case the associated partition function Q0 for spinless particle, Q0 of n is equal to sigma np e raised to minus beta sigma p square by 2m np. Okay, this small p is summation p. Okay, and now we know the Helmholtz free energy A equal to minus kT ln Qn. Okay, where Qn is the partition function, K is the Boltzmann constant, T is the temperature, and Qn equal to what? E raised to minus A by kT. Okay, by taking the e raised to power. Okay, then 1 by kT means already we know that is beta, so e raised to minus beta A. So now we are dealing with the particle with the spinless particle. So Q0 of n means what? It is e raised to minus beta A0 of n. Clear? Okay, so now my Q0 of n equal to e raised to minus beta A0 of n. Clear? So which is A0 means it is a free energy of a spinless particle. Clear? Now we'll move on to the total partition function associated with that. Now e raised to minus beta mu b n sigma n plus equal to 0 to n e raised to 2 mu b beta n plus q0 n plus q0 n minus, and when you do that, e raised to minus beta mu b n sigma n plus equal to 0 to n, e raised to 2 mu beta b n plus q0 n plus q0 n minus n plus, that is n minus equal to n minus n plus. Okay, so we'll have the partition function for a spinless particle we have obtained here. Now if you take the logarithmic of this one, ln q of n, if you do that, then we'll have minus beta mu b n plus ln e raised to sigma n plus equal to 0 to n e raised to 2 mu beta b n plus e raised to minus beta a0 n plus, where b is magnetic field, beta is 1 by kt. Okay, do not confuse. So e raised to minus beta a0 n plus e raised to minus beta a0 n minus n plus. Okay, so 1 by ln q of n, if you to take that, that means you have to divide the entire term with 1n. So we'll have minus beta mu b plus 1 by n ln sigma n plus equal to 0 to n e raised to 2 mu b beta n plus e raised to minus beta a0 n plus e raised to minus beta a0 n minus n plus. Okay, clear? So now if you differentiate with respect to n plus, if you differentiate with respect to n plus, so we'll have 0 equal to 0. Okay, before that n plus equal to n plus bar is there, and ln sigma n, that is equal to ln n star. Okay, so we have to put a limit that, so n plus we have to get n bar n plus, that means it's the average number of total particle with upspin. So that is 1 by n ln qn equal to minus beta mu b plus 1 by n ln e raised to 2 mu b beta n plus e raised to minus beta a0 n plus e raised to minus beta a0 n minus n plus. So which is we have to evaluate as n plus equal to n bar plus. Okay, now if you differentiate this with respect to n plus, we'll have 0 on this side and we'll have 0 again, and we have 1 by n 2 mu b beta minus beta dou dou a0 n plus divided by dou n plus minus beta dou a0 by dou n plus minus n minus n plus. So which we evaluating as n plus equal to n bar plus. Okay, so when you do that, what is this 2 mu beta, this one? So okay, if you take this on the either side, so we'll be getting 2 beta mu b will be equal to beta into dou a0 by dou n plus minus beta into dou a0 by dou n plus n minus n plus. So which we are evaluating at n plus equal to n bar plus. Okay, now it comes to here. Okay, sorry. Okay, here. So the ln, okay, this we have obtained like this, and mu equal to what? Mu will be equal to dou a by dou n. What is dou a by dou n means? It is chemical potential, because we know that the change in energy with respect to change in particle number, which we call it as chemical potential. What is the energy here? Here A is free energy. Okay, so any energy change with respect to number of particles, like internal energy, Gibbs free energy, Helmholtz free energy, enthalpy. So these are the thermodynamic different parameters. No, so we are any change in those parameters with respect to number of particle change, we call it as chemical potential. Okay, so I can replace dou a by dou n with chemical potential. No, so that is mu 0 n bar plus minus mu 0 n minus n plus, which is equal to 2 mu b. Okay, so this is how we able to reduce that. And mu 0 of n, what is that? It is a chemical potential for a spinless particle. Okay, now in order to obtain the susceptibility by experiment, So there is certain formula chi equal to 2 mu b by dou mu 0 divided by dou x into xn. Okay, into not lambda n, it is xn at x is equal to half. So how do we get this equation? For there is a proof is there, that is m equal to mu n plus n minus, that is a net magnetic momentum, and we can actually give uh, n minus in terms of n plus, and now also we can give n plus equal to n bar plus, then you'll be having mu equal to what, m equal to mu into 2 n bar plus minus n, which is equal to mu nr. That is a net value corresponding to that. Okay, that is 2n plus minus n means nr we will be getting here. Mu and mu get cancelled, and n bar plus is equal to what, it is nr plus n, capital N divided by 2, and n into 1 plus r by 2. So we'll be getting like this fashion. Okay, so in that we'll have n minus bar is equal to n into n is equal to n minus bar is equal to n into 1 minus r by 2. So mu 0 into 1 plus r by 2 into n minus mu 0 into 1 minus r by n by 2 into n. If you substitute back into that equation, it is equal to 2 mu b la. So now r equal to 0 and magnetic field equal to 0. So we say that it is completely random orientation of electron. Okay, so if b is very small and r is also small, so by Taylor expansion, when r equal to 0, so Taylor expansion, series expansion, if you examine at r equal to 0, we'll have 2 mu b if you expand this term as a Taylor series expansion, and finally we say that at r equal to 0. Okay, so that is 0 plus r into dou mu 0 by dou r, 1 plus r by 2 into n, 1 by r equal to 0 minus dou mu 0 by dou r, 1 minus r by 2 into n at r equal to 0. If you evaluate, you will be getting the corresponding equation like this. Okay, so you can also evaluate the function with respect to different cases. Okay, where you can put x is equal to half here. Okay, and finally you will be ending up to this particular equation, susceptibility equal to 2 mu b by uh, dou mu 0 by dou x into xn, and x is equal to half. So the remaining discussion is not that demanded, so you can just keep it note of, and you can also work it out. So like we will be reaching that particular equation that we have seen over here. Okay, so that's how we will be getting this susceptibility value experiment. Okay, now we'll evaluate a law field of chi will be equal to what, m by vb. So where m equal to what, it is a net magnetic momentum, that is mu equal to nr, okay, by vb. So that is equal to 2n mu square by dou mu 0 by dou x xn at x is equal to half. But we know that in actual case the chemical potential is equal to epsilon f, so which is equal to 3n by 4 pi gv raised to 2 by 3 by h square by 2m, and epsilon f we already know the value, that is 3n by, it is okay, yeah, how it becomes 8, because g is equal to 2 here for electron, so that's why 8 pi v raised to 2 by 3 and h square by 2m will be there. And also we have another equation, more generalized equation for mu for different temperature. So it is mu equal to epsilon f into 1 minus pi square by 12 kt by epsilon f square. This equation we have studied in earlier discussion as well. Okay, now it comes to spinless particle. We know that the temperature at absolute zero temperature, 0 Kelvin, so the the chemical potential will be equal to, chemical potential of a spinless particle is equal to 3n by 4 pi v raised to 2 by 3 h square by 2m, that is mu 0 of xn, that you have to note on. We are introducing a term x, mu 0 of xn, that is equal to 3nx by 4 pi v raised to 2 by 3 h square by 2m. Okay, Now we have to evaluate dou mu 0 by dou xn by dou x, and we have to put that x is equal to why, because we have seen that there's an equation to find the susceptibility, that it contains a term dou mu 0 by dou xn by dou x like this. Okay, so dou mu 0 xn by dou x equal to 2 by 3 minus x raised to 1 by 3 3n by 4 pi b 2 by 3 h square by 2m. Okay, and dou mu 0 xn by x at x is equal to half if you give, so you can actually evaluate the value corresponding to that. So, okay, now you have to put the wherever x came, you have to put x is equal to half. Okay, then if you do so, you will be getting dou mu 0 xn by dou x at x is equal to half 4 by 3 3n by 8 pi v raised to 2 by 3 h square by 2m, like you will be getting. That means this part of the equation is representing the epsilon f, Fermi energy. So what we are getting is that dou mu 0 xn by dou x at x is equal to half, that is equal to 4 by 3 epsilon f, and we have the equation here for susceptibility for low field that is equal to 2n mu square 2n mu square divided by dou mu 0 xn by x at x is equal to half. So that is 2n mu 0 by mu square by 4 by 3 epsilon f, that is equal to 3 by 2 n mu square by epsilon f. Okay, and the chi 0 is independent of temperature, that you can identify from here. You can see that chi 0 is independent of the temperature. Okay, clear? The susceptibility is independent of the temperature. That was one of the postulates of Pauli's paramagnetism. Now we'll move on to F, considering a case with a finite but we are treating a low temperature. Okay, so in that situation, the mu of n, the chemical potential, again evaluating the same one, mu of n equal to epsilon f into 1 minus pi square by 12 kt by epsilon f raised to square. So here we have taken this representation. Okay, and we know that in this situation mu 0 of n equal to 3n by 4 pi v, we have to substitute the epsilon f value square by 2m into 1 minus pi square by 12 kt by epsilon f whole square. And now if I say mu 0 of xn, that is equal to 3nx divided by 4 pi v 2 by 3 h square by 2m into 1 minus pi square by 12 kt by epsilon f square. Correct? Now we have to differentiate this one with respect to x. Okay, okay, we have to differentiate with respect to x. Okay, so then you will be getting 2 by 3 x raised to minus 1 by 3 3n by 4 pi v raised to 2 by 3 into h square 1 minus pi square by 12 kt by epsilon f square will be there. Okay, so dou mu 0 xn divided by dou x at x is equal to half, that is equal to 2 by 3, like we will be getting. And here the last outcome will be 4 by 3 epsilon f into 1 minus pi square by 12 kt by epsilon f square. Okay, so we'll back to the equation. So chi is equal to 2n mu square by dou mu 0 xn by x by x by f. What we are getting is that this value we obtained as 4 by 3 epsilon f into 1 minus pi square by 12 kt by epsilon f whole square. Okay, so that is 3 by 2 into n mu square epsilon f into 1 minus pi square by 12 kt by epsilon f whole square raised to minus 1. So the susceptibility is equal to this term, we already know this term is equivalent to what? Chi 0. So total susceptibility at a finite low temperature, chi will be equal to chi 0 into 1 minus pi square by 12 kt divided by epsilon f square minus 1. Okay, the temperature, so if you consider the high temperature situation, the temperature if tends to infinity, that means very high temperature. If you consider, we know that the number density as a representation g by lambda cube f 3 by 2 of 2. Okay, so as temperature tends to infinity, we can say the fugacity value z will be less than, very less than 1, because z is the value, is z equal to e raised to mu by kt, that is we know, right? Okay, then we can say that f of 3 by 2 of z, which is equivalent to what? Which is equivalent to z. Okay, so that is pinless case, g will be equal to 1. We already know that g value will be equal to 1. So you can put g equal to 1 here. Then it is n lambda cube, okay, into v will be the. So f3 by 2 of z is, we said that it is approximately equal to z. So that is mu equal to what? Kt ln z. Okay, so kt ln n lambda cube g, because z we will be getting as, while substituting back here, if you substitute f3 by 2 of z equal to what? It is equal to z. So you here you can get the z value, z equal to what? Z equal to n lambda cube by v. Here g equal to 1. Okay, from that representation we can substitute z equal to n lambda cube, but it is capital. Okay, okay, yeah. But here small, because n by v is what? N by v is number density, right? Okay, that's why we are introducing small n. Okay, so n lambda cube by g will be there. So here g already we know that is 1. Okay, so it is mu 0 of n if we substitute kt ln n lambda cube by v. Okay, small n I can either replace as n by v, because small n is number density, so capital N is number of particle, and this v is volume. Okay, so what we will be getting is mu 0 of xn. Now if you evaluate mu 0 of xn, that is kt ln nx lambda q by v. Okay, now if you evaluate dou mu 0 of xn divided by x, okay, that is equal to kt into n lambda q by v divided by nx lambda q by v, which is equal to kt by x. So that is the value you will be getting for dou mu 0 xn by dou x. Now if you put x is equal to half here, we will be getting 2 kt as the value of dou mu 0 xn by dou xn. Okay, so in that case, x infinity, that means at infinity temperature, the susceptibility will be equal to what? 2n mu square divided by dou mu 0 xn divided by x at x is equal to half. Okay, so this value we already identified that 2 kt. So 2n mu square by 2 kt, that is n mu square by kt. So here you can see that the susceptibility at infinite temperature, which is equal to n mu square by kt, where n is what? N is the number density here, and t also here. So here you can see that the susceptibility at infinite temperature, at this very high temperature, it is actually inversely proportional to temperature. But at low field, or rather we can say at absolute zero temperature, it is independent of the temperature. Okay, so that is polyparamagnetism. It's all about saying is that at very infinite temperature, the susceptibility is actually inversely proportional to temperature. At absolute zero temperature, it is independent of the temperature. Okay, so that is a feeble temperature independency can identified at low temperatures, and it is depend on the number density. Here also you can see that it is clearly depend on the number density, that also we can identify. So at low temperature, susceptibility is temperature independent. At high temperature, susceptibility is temperature dependent. Both can be able to explain by polyparamagnetism explanations. Okay, so that's all about the discussion of polyparamagnetism. So on the next class we will be discussing Landau diamagnetism. Okay, thank you. Until then,